What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Terrence of Terrence in Motion, and today we got a very special one. So I know we normally do condo tours on the channel, and condo tours are very popular on YouTube. But one thing I wanted to do today is I wanted to do a condo tour that primarily focused around slow travel. So like a lot of us are slow travelers, and myself as a veteran and also as an expat, I like to slow travel. Slow travel essentially is just going somewhere and staying for an extended period of time. And today we're going to do a condo tour in Da Nang. Welcome. All right, come on. All right, so right here we got this living room, right? Very nice living room. And one thing about this unit is that this is a brand new unit, right? It's a brand new unit you can find on Booking, Airbnb, plenty of different apps. I found this booking on Facebook, right? Not Facebook Marketplace, but there's plenty of groups where expats and locals and foreigners can go to where they can rent property or rent places, condos, houses, whatever. And this is actually a house, all right? So I believe there's 8 or 7 units in this building, and this is the biggest unit in the entire building, right? The biggest unit in the entire building. That handsome devil on television right there, yeah. So as you guys know, I've been in Vietnam for the past 6 months, and I plan on staying for another 5, maybe 6 months. I'm also doing my Ironman here in Vietnam in Phu Quoc. Recently, I just went to Ho Chi Minh and slow traveled up the coast back to Da Nang, and I found myself here, and I got this really nice place. All this furniture is brand new. Brand new, massive TV, Wi-Fi, electricity, water is all included. Water here, yeah, it's like $25,000 to refill, but I like to buy water myself. As you can see, the fridge is already stocked, right? Diet soda, you know, to help with your, cravings. Water, fruits, frozen meats, everything. Literally, grocery shopping here is extremely easy. You go to Lot Mart. You get your noodles, you get your rice, your pastas, your starches. All that's good for, getting those carbs in. I'm actually cooking a little bit right now, got a little banh mi type thing going on right now. But this is a fully stocked kitchen as well. That's one thing. And I will say the other places that I've stayed in Vietnam didn't have a fully stocked kitchen. Now they probably had more utensils, but all these utensils and stuff are brand new. All right, the spatula, the spoons, everything brand new. All the pots, stainless steel, brand new. A few pots I still haven't even used yet. They still have the wrappings on them. But let's get to the rest of the house. Oh yeah, and he just brought this plant here. Pretty sure he brought the plant here to butter me up because we negotiated a little long-term, short-term stay. But he's a very clever fellow. This is outside. This is just me watering plants. This is just me watering plants, living my best life. Come down this hallway. Nice queen size. I think this is a queen mattress. I'm not sure. All the linens, everything is brand new, fresh on it. Workspace over here. Plenty of drawer space. Plenty of space for everything, Plenty of space over here, plenty of space in there. I don't wear those, but it's plenty of space for everything. Like I said, another TV. Now, one thing I really don't care about is televisions, but since I'm going to be here for an extended amount of time, it is nice to have 2 65-inch TVs in the main room and also in the bedroom. We need downtime. Sometimes you need downtime, you need entertainment, you need things to pull you away from reality. And although I'm not a huge fan of television, it is nice to have the option. All right, let's go to the bathroom. All right, so this is where the magic happens. All right, so this is where the magic happens. Toilet. I still haven't gotten used to using these bidets. It's called a bidet, I think, or something like that. I still haven't gotten used to using these. It's just something weird about squirting, So yeah, so this is like a nice little mirror right here. Everything you need, boom, bam, wham, thank you, ma'am. Close that back up. Now, one thing I really like about this bathroom is the shower. Look at this. Yeah. Look at this. Now, hold up. All right, so look. You see that motion? Now watch this. Now watch this. All right, now watch this. What is going on? I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. It's like literally jets shooting out at you. Like, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. But also, it's brand new. That's another thing. A lot of these builds here in Da Nang are brand new. Da Nang doesn't have the best infrastructure when it comes to lodging. It's getting steamy in there. Let me turn this off. Da Nang doesn't have the best infrastructure when it comes to lodging compared to Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, and Nha Trang. I think because those places have already built up a sort of a expat or foreigner and tourist industry. Like if you know in Nha Trang, you have a lot of Russians. A lot of Russians. Probably too many, right? I like Russians though. And then Ho Chi Minh is pretty much super diverse. Hanoi is northern Vietnam is more traditional. You know what I'm saying? It's more traditional. It's the home of the original Northern Vietnamese army, big OG Ho Chi Minh, and it's more traditional. But they also have a lot of French architecture out there, and they also have a lot of good, like, you know, I butchered that word, but yeah, I'm trying to sound intelligent. But you guys get what I mean. Da Nang is Central Vietnam, and Central Vietnam is not as built up as the South and the North. However, Da Nang is on the uprise, and places like this are amazing. Like, I forgot to show you guys this AC unit. One thing that I really appreciate is a nice bed, a nice shower, and AC. Honestly, if I have those three things, I don't need anything else, right? Like, I'm pretty much satisfied with that. But let's go back out to the living room and have a conversation. Cut. Slow travel as a veteran or an individual with, you know, a pension or disposable income has completely changed the way I see the world. You know, I've seen landmarks, I've taken pictures, I've marked, you know, places off the list. And the truth is, it's not about how many places you see or how many, you know, countries you mark off the list. It's how deeply you experience the place that you're in. And for me, slow travel gives me that opportunity. I've been in Vietnam for about 7 months now, and I plan on staying for an extended amount of time until I eventually either go back to Thailand or, you know, China or wherever. But the truth is, slow travel gives me the opportunity to be able to do that, right? One thing that I really appreciate so far that I've learned with slow traveling is that I'm not required to be anywhere, right? You can get a visa somewhere in a country where you want to have a base and you can just move around. This condo that I just showed you guys is a very nice condo. It's a house condo, whatever you want to call it. It's very nice, very clean, very affordable, especially for someone who's living on a pension and you lack certain financial obligations or you don't have certain financial restraints, right? Even if you're traveling with a loved one, a significant other, or even a family, like you can find places like this everywhere you go, right? And that's the beauty about slow traveling, because there's a huge lack of commitment or full commitment that you have to have, that you don't have to have when you slow travel, right? I rented this place for a month at a certain price. And initially, after being here for a week and a half, you know, not necessarily in Da Nang, I've been in Da Nang before longer, but being in this place for a week and a half, I realized this is definitely somewhere where I want to have my next slow traveling, you know, adventure at here in Da Nang. You know, I feel extremely comfortable here. I have tons of appliances, you know, great Wi-Fi, great air conditioning, you know, full kitchen, you know, comfortable bedroom, a really extremely comfortable shower, as you guys saw with all the jets and different things. And typically places like this is somewhere where you settle down and you want to stay for a lot longer, but you don't have to when you slow travel, right? You can negotiate a price, you know what I'm saying, that you want with your landlord or the owner or the agent, you know, so you can get a discount because you're renting for a longer term. Obviously, you're going to sign a contract and you're expected to honor that contract. But I was able to negotiate the price and also not have to pay a deposit. So I don't have to pay a deposit. And I negotiated for about 6 months. And I'm paying around, I think, maybe 18 million a month, right? I'm getting an extreme discount because I locked in for an extended amount of time. And that is one of the benefits of slow travel, you know, but also the lack of full commitment can also be a con, because what if you decide to make the place that you slow travel to your permanent base or a base, you know, that you're going to, you know, launch out of, right? That could be a con because you fall in love with a place, but you're not planning on fully committing to it. That could be detrimental, but it could be a pro. So it depends on how you look at it, honestly. As a veteran, you're used to picking up and moving. You're used to leaving, you know what I'm saying? Like you're used to going from duty station to duty station. You're used to different things. You're used to transition. You know what I'm saying? You're used to hurry up and waiting. You're used to all that stuff, right? You're used to controlled chaos. And slow travel has been more consistent with this philosophy that I have developed as I've been living abroad. And because I'm not a traditional traveler, I thought I was going to be the tourist type. I thought I was going to be the person to go to all the places that you want to see. And of course, there's places I want to see, right? I want to see Big Ben in London. I want to see the pyramids in Egypt. I want to go and see certain things, but I don't care to see everything, right? And I realized that's not me. I also realized I'm not the person to go settle down somewhere and just be there, as like a permanent resident or, a long-term resident. I realized that's not me either. And when I discovered slow traveling, I pretty much fell in love with the concept. You can travel, but slowly. So I'm still a nomad. I'm still, an expat. I'm still moving around. I'm still a veteran abroad, but I'm not anchored any specific place. And you can get long-term visas in different places so you can have access to those places when you want to go back, right? I can go to Thailand anytime I want. I can go to Cambodia anytime I want. There's many different places I can go to because if you get visas in those places, you can just travel right back to the place. But that's the beauty of slow traveling, right? Another thing about slow traveling is that you are no longer consuming a country. You're participating in it, right? When I was in Nha Trang, which is in the south of Vietnam, I started like a language exchange. I started recognizing people and people started recognizing me. I knew which fruit stand had the best mangoes. I knew where to get the best coffee. I knew which part of the beach to go to where I wouldn't have to be bothered by anybody if I wanted some like seclusion. Like I knew where to go, where it was the perfect shade. Like that's one of the great things about slow travel, right? You pick up on things and you feel a part of the community and your surroundings, right? Even though it's temporary, right? You still learn these things, right? At many different coffee places, my nickname was Mr. T. Mr. T. And they would always be happy and be like, see you tomorrow, see you next week. They knew what days I was coming in. And yes, you can get those same exact things while you are, staying somewhere for an extended amount of time. But the beauty of slow travel is that those memories you'll cherish because it's temporary, right? It's temporary, so you'll make the most of them and you'll really appreciate them. So remember, you're not consuming a country, you're actively participating in it. The great thing about being a veteran or an individual with a pension or an individual with a disposable income, if your money arrives every month, regardless of where you are, your biggest asset becomes time. See, most people have money. Some have time, and a few have both. If you have predictable income and flexible time, slow travel becomes one of the highest value lifestyles one could live. The truth is, a predictable income and a disposable income changes the equation, right? Essentially, you're paying for peace and not constant chaos. You're staying somewhere long enough to where you stop focusing on checkout day. Essentially, you're living the life of a long-term expat in a specific location, but temporarily. Because at some point, you won't be paying tourist prices. You'll be paying what the locals pay. When I was in Nha Trang, when I was in Bangkok, same thing, right? I got in with the community that I was in and my experience changed. But it was obviously my time there was only temporary. It didn't matter. When I lived in Nha Trang, when I stayed in Nha Trang, I was able to, send my money to myself during Western Union and go to the, markets and get exchange rate that was well below market value, right? So I got majority of my money back that I exchanged for. It's things like that. It's little small things. You can get that as a long-term expat staying somewhere. In fact, I got that hookup because of a long-term expat that stayed there. But see, my time there was only temporary, but I got the same benefit. And that's one of the great things about being a slow traveler. You're not on vacation anymore. And this is huge, right? After 2 weeks, life returns. You still train, cook, grocery shop, pay bills, make friends. Except now you're doing these things in Vietnam or Thailand or Portugal or Colombia or the Philippines. You're living overseas, living abroad, a veteran abroad. You're not escaping life. Moving every 3 days is exciting, but living somewhere for 2 months is transformative. You stop chasing novelty and you start appreciating life. Ironically, the slower you travel, the richer life becomes. A few cons is like, sometimes it can be less exciting. Routine can creep back in, and it can be lonely at times, especially when you're slow traveling because you're having to start over constantly, even though it's not as constant. But the upside is that the truth is nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary. And for me, as a veteran abroad, as an expat living abroad, slow travel has become a great part of my everyday life, and I'm not ready to give it up. But honestly, you should give it a chance as well. Peace.